Hey folks, welcome back to On Texas Football and welcome back to the Winning Drive, the prime time edition. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by fellow lifetime Longhorn, the young prodigy, CJ Vogel. We'll tell you more about what CJ is here in just a moment, but also we're joined by our own coach, former high school football coach at Vernon, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian and coached there as well. Was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. It's our own coach Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
Hey, doing good, man. It's all good. Still waiting on that first good cold front to blow through here.
I'm saying.
It still ain't. We haven't had no cold front hit here, so I'd love a cold front. Then that means fall is here. Maybe the Longhorns will start playing some actual football if the fall weather comes. All right, we'll talk about the Longhorns, of course, because it's Texas OU week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be breaking down Texas OU a little bit. My man CJ was actually there. Thank you, CB. I appreciate that. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Yeah, Rob B.
Right.
Happy birthday.
Man,
you got that on the introduction. Happy birthday. Congrats on another year around the sun.
Y'all know how men are and dudes are about their birthdays. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah. Just an old man now at this point. But I appreciate the B-Day wishes, man. We'll get into Sark's media availability. Thank you. I appreciate that. Media availability today. CJ was there. CJ's now at the airport right now, by the way. That's why CJ, the background looks weird. That's why CJ's going to be leaving us probably about 20 minutes or so. He's going to be jetting out because he's out there on the move making moves. So if you got a question on CJ, you better get it in really quickly.
We'll call that. Yeah, we'll call it that. I like it.
Yeah. So get him out there. Super chat. You know how that works. Jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. All right, let's get right into it. What did Sark have to say? I saw one comment that went viral. I mean, we could start there. But what did Sark have to say that really caught your ear, CJ, at the media availability?
Yeah, I think obviously he fielded a lot of questions about the offensive line, right? He said, look, we'll evaluate everything in the week of practice. You know, will we see an immediate change today? Look, I got to know what we're going up against in Oklahoma first before I make that decision. Of course, how does he help that offensive line? Well, it starts with him. It starts with the quarterback. It starts with the protection in practice. But it's going to be an important week. And I don't want to just go out there and say that this is the game that determines your season, but it kind of is. And what determines this upcoming weekend for me is that offensive line. So huge week for those guys and a huge week for Kyle Flood and his group.
Coach Shipley, I'll give you a lot of credit. And I said this in the post game. I gave you a lot of credit. I gave Stevie Lee a lot of credit. Because on the show, The Winning Drive, I remember after some of those cupcake games, you would come on and express concern about the O-line. You're like, I just don't like the way the O-line is looking. Just throwing it out there, even though Texas blowing them out. Don't like the way the O-line is looking. And Stevie Lee was saying that about the D-line. I remember Stevie Lee specifically saying, they didn't push back a lot. Y'all don't see that? I'm like, okay, yeah, I see it. And turns out Stevie Lee, right? Watching trench play knows what the hell he's talking about. And so do you, Coach. Now those offensive line issues seems to be the hot topic. Actually, not people are talking less about Arch Manning and some of his struggles. I actually feel really good about Arch right now, but I do not feel good about the trenches for the Longhorns. Just what are your thoughts before we get into some of Sark's comments, or at least the one that went viral? What are your thoughts about the O-line in this contest? Because you were probably one of the first people that I heard express concern about it this season.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we're talking about, we got San Jose State, you got UTEP, you got Sam Houston. If we're not driving those guys off the ball or moving the line of scrimmage against them, are we just going to suddenly get a Superman cape on when we go to the swamp? Or we go to the Red River rivalry? I mean, no. I mean, they are who they are. And so the question is, with the offensive line like that, why do you continue to have deep dropbacks, slow developing routes, balls going way down the field when he gets hit in the face almost every time he's in the pocket releasing the football? So to me, I mean, it's just my summation. I've been talking to a lot of people lately in a couple of podcasts and said this, that you've got to help your offensive line. Where are those quick little screens out there on the side? Help those guys. When he came to Texas, when Sark came, his motto, all gas, no brakes. Now we're just riding the brakes. I mean, if my offensive line is outmanned, which we are, If you don't believe me, you just go back and watch a tape and just put it on rewind and watch each lineman every play, and you'll be in the bathroom after the first quarter throwing up. I'm not kidding. They're not in sync at all. There's nothing. I mean, a great offensive line, it's like poetry in motion, you know, and we're just totally out of sync. And, you know, so it's not like, I mean, we had better guys. They'd already be on the field by now. Okay. So we have what we have. And so how can we, I mean, UCLA put on a new offense in 2 days and beat Penn. So how can we not make some adjustments to better fit our personnel and get the ball out of Arch's hands? Arch was a freaking warrior Saturday, man. He stayed in that pocket like a beast. I mean, he had to have been bruised from head to toe after that game, you know. Not on Arch. Was he the best quarterback in the country Saturday? No, he probably wasn't. But I don't know a lot of people I'd take over him right now.
He gave you a chance.
Yeah, he gave you a chance. And so could it be the same thing defensively? You know, they played pretty good against Ohio State, played 3 cupcakes. Maybe they're not what we thought they were. Now, they came through the last, 18, 19, 20 minutes of the game, something like that, and played, you know, gave us a chance to win the football game, you know, and that's what good defenses do. But the offensive line, just don't hold your breath or stick your head in the sand or whatever and expect it just to go away, because they are who they are and it's not going away. Yes, there's improvements. There's some things that we can take better angles. We can help them with scheme wise, but they are who they are, and we got to figure it out. We got to figure it out quick.
Yeah, Coach, to your point, I thought some of the issues we'd see early on this year would be communication, and communication really hadn't been an issue. It hadn't been great. It's just guys getting whooped one-on-one. And that wasn't the expectation, especially with guys that have been in the program for 3 and 4 years. They've been around. They know the calls. They know the adjustments. They know what to look for. And they've just been whooped, to your point. Now, it's ugly.
To your and I know Sark was asked about, and Orlando says, Coach Shipley, are you looking to come out of retirement?
No, heck no. There's a reason
you
why.
Did coach O-line? Did you say you coached O-line at one point?
I coached O-line. That's why I'm so hard on them, because that's what I watch. Every time the ball snaps, I'm just scanning that front line, see where there's a breakdown, you know. And
all right, guys,
just go back and watch it. I mean, it's not fun. I'm not saying I have the answers as a coach on the field. You know, I'm not saying let me at those guys. We got the best line coach in the country, in my opinion. I think we probably didn't go deep enough in the portal. That's becoming pretty obvious, and something
very
that
obvious.
will definitely have to be on the top of the list priority-wise for the portal this season.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I'm going to have to butt out. They're calling my name at the podium here. So
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. But I know that Jerry was on the road today, so we got some clips from that. And then I'll be sure to catch up with you guys later this week.
Yeah, man. Don't miss your flight. Go.
Hardest working man in the business right there.
Oh, that's good.
See you guys. Thank you, Coach.
Right.
Happy birthday, Rod B.
Thank you, brother. I do know when Sark was asked about, as a matter of fact, here's a super chat here we got from Nicolini Morel. I hope I got that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Says a possible O-line solution: Hudson to left guard and Connor Rob to center. Connor Robertson to center. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, when Sark was asked about possible O-line adjustments, I think he just said they got to play better, they got to coach better. That's obvious. Yeah, but
he's going to protect his guys. And he's not going to give out anything in a press conference that could give other coaches, you know, reason to start planning for something different up there. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd be open for any and all solutions. But I promise you, like Rod, you and I were kind of texting before the show. You know, it's not like those coaches don't see him every single day. They see him every single day. They knew there was a problem. They had to have known there was a problem, you know? And so I say at this point, you just got to put the best 5 that can work together as a unit and get it done. Maybe try some different concepts. I love the short passing game. I mean, sometimes I used to get mad because we were running so many of those little quick screens out there. You know, 2 receivers out there, let one block, let the other one go. 3 receivers out there, let 2 block, let, you know, and then you can always do the pump fake off of it and hit them going down the sidelines and all that stuff. You know, there's just a lot you can do, but it takes the pressure off our offensive line. And if nothing else, make them cowards, man. Make the defense cowards, because fatigue makes cowards of us all. Run the play so fast the defensive line can't catch their breath or get off the field. Do something. We can't control the fact that now that our guys aren't big enough, strong enough, or whatever to move the line of scrimmage. That is what it is. And they're outstanding young men, I'm sure. But I'm just saying, because of that, we've got to use what we can to our advantage. So you're sitting there thinking, okay, gosh, what can we do? Okay, well, we can get the ball outside quick. We can get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quick. We can go fast-paced, tire the defense. I mean, we've got to start doing something, because lining up mano-a-mano is not going to work.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Coach. I think ultimately, you can hope for improvement week by week, but that's not going to happen fast enough to solve these problems that you have right now on the O-line. You need to adjust the scheme to the talent level that you have and try to come up with creative solutions. And I'm with you at this point. I mean, here's a good breakdown from my man CJ, and Matthew does a great job. So you probably can go find it right on his Twitter account, because that's where it is. But he broke down the percentage, like the deep ball rate for Arch Manning. Right now he's at 23% of his passes are 20 yards or more down the field. It's just kind of the deep ball rate for him right now. And he's really good at it. He's completing over 45% of his deep ball. So it's still one of the best weapons he has, but it does take time for those routes to develop. Right now, on average, he's holding on to the ball around 3.2 seconds is his average time to throw. That's a good amount of time for a defense to get home. Now, some of that is him extending plays and avoiding a rush, but that's still, you can argue, right now with this O-line, it's working to their detriment. That you got to start working the ball out to insulate that.
To put it in perspective, could a good athlete run a 30-yard dash in 3.2 seconds?
Yes, Coach. Yes.
So you're telling me I got to hold these guys out for the same amount of time it takes somebody to sprint 30 yards down the field. Come on, man. I mean, that's asking the impossible. It really is. But I like that Arch is staying in the pocket more.
He is.
I don't think it's his problem. I think it's the routes they're either too complex in developing, or in other words, whatever the case is, it takes too long. We're holding on to the ball too long. And it could be that the coverage at the secondary, I watch mostly offensive line and receivers. I don't watch defense that much, but the opposing team's defense in terms of what they're doing. But, you know, were they interface all game? I mean, did we not have any cushions to throw any short to intermediate passes?
No, I think once Texas got behind, well, first of all, this has been the case all year long, Coach. They've been more verticality in the offense with Arch. We knew that because Arch is more comfortable with it, and it seems like that's where Sark wants to take the offense this year. But as a great coach once told me, life and football are constant struggles, deciding between what you want to be and what you need to be in order to survive. And what you wanted to be was a vertical passing game, a vertical pro-style passing game, but you need an offensive line to be able to block for that. And you don't really have that right now. And
it goes out without saying, you have to have a running game.
And you have to running game.
I mean, hey, newsflash, our running backs had 15 yards rushing.
15.
The running backs.
It's the worst rushing performance for a Sark team at Texas.
15. The last time that we had running backs that ran for 15 yards and we won a game was the Big 12 championship when Colton Jordan with Sue from Nebraska in the Big 12 championship. That's the last time Texas ran for 15 yards with the running backs and won. And we almost didn't win that game.
And you don't. And by the way, Florida ain't got no double Kung Suba.
No, No, they don't. But let me tell you something.
They were good though. They were good athletes, Norman. They were good. They were good from. I'm not trying to diss them, but I just did it to put what Coach said into perspective. You were going up against one of the greatest defensive players in the history. And by the way, that defense was loaded. That defense had like 7 NFL, right? 7 NFL guys on it. That Nebraska defense was loaded.
Let me tell you what I like. When you're looking in the portal, I like big butts.
And I cannot lie.
I mean, hey, where does power come from? Your hips. Your hips. When you're down in a stance, your power comes from your hips. Where does the strength from your hips come? Well, it comes from your legs, but it comes from your butt too.
Yeah. It's all butt. It's all about having a big butt.
And some of our linemen, they just have a flat butt. I mean, I had a coach tell me one time when I was out recruiting. He said, "Hey, you show me a power 4 offensive line with a flat butt, with no butt, and I'll show you an offensive lineman that's getting his butt handed to him every play."
That is awesome.
Look at it. I mean, look at it.
This is how I know y'all laughing because y'all think Coach is joking, but he is actually not. It's funny, but he ain't joking because at the combine, I tell you guys all the time, they're literally, you can hear grown men talking, coaches kind of looking at dudes, and they're looking at, man, look at that high booty on. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Look at them thighs. Look at them thighs, man. Look at them. It's almost like it's almost like a cat calling. They always looking at a dude, and they're like, yeah, man. Because to what Coach is saying, they got in their mind, they're like, no. If you gonna play on the line, I need a dude with a big old and getting the thighs to match it. So no boost in the caboose. So maybe, Coach, you need to go talk to Kyle Flood and give him your theory.
No, I don't.
Brandon Harris.
I don't need to talk to Kyle Flood.
Recruit no big humans unless they got a big butt. Over the big human with a flat butt. I like your theory, Coach. I support it. I support it, man. That's some good football knowledge right there. This is what you learned on the show on the winning drive. All right, but I agree with you. Matter of fact, Matthew has a clip. Now I believe CJ got a chance to ask this question, actually. And the question basically was about the quick passing game. Whether he's going to modify the passing game now to really insulate the pass protection. Because these deep vertical routes, and by the way, he's good. Like I say, he's completing over 45% of his passes 20 yards or more. Even in that game when they knew he was going to throw it downfield, yes, I know there was some interceptions and some off throws, but still made some plays downfield. Some in the scramble drill, keeping plays alive. But there is clear now that him holding on to the ball a little too long, sometimes that's his fault. Sometimes that's the routes taking too long to develop. It's becoming a bit of a problem in pass protection. Here's what, Matthew, we can have that clip, please. Here's what Sark had to say about the quick passing game.
To Arch's defense, he can only do what's called, right? And so I wouldn't clearly, definitely would not put that on him. You know, I think we went into that game with a mindset of we wanted to attack them vertically down the field. We felt like that was where they were susceptible, and clearly they were. We hit a couple, we didn't hit some. You know, we missed a couple. And every game's different in the approach of how we try to attack people. We had some opportunities for some more rhythmic, quicker throws. It didn't come to fruition the way we would have liked. But again, every week, every game's got its own formula for success for us of how we're going to try to attack an opponent. And the flow of the game, to your point, then dictates kind of where you start leaning into and where you start going. I thought Florida, to their credit, Ron Roberts is a great coach. You know, they did a good job of understanding that was where we probably needed to go, and then tried to take that away from us and made that aspect of our game difficult and forced us to kind of hold the ball a little bit more. So credit to them on that, but we've got to be more creative to find ways to get some of those more easy completions.
Yeah, I believe on the deep completions, to Sark's point. Hey, my man Stevie Lee's here. What's going on? Oh, we got to get to Stevie. But just 1 second. They were 5 of 13 on those deep passes Sark was talking about on Arch's deep ball. But honestly, thinking about it, they missed, 2 of them? I mean, Emmett Mosley on that double move, that one should have been house call. The double pass, that should have been a house call. Hell, so you probably should have been over 50% on them deep balls, and the game would have been very different if you had hit 2 house calls like that. Because you'd have backed that Florida secondary off. You'd have backed them linebackers up after that. You probably would have had a little bit more open up either in the run game or in the underneath passing game. So, Sark made a good point there. I get it. All right, Stevie Lee. I've been giving you props just so you know. I've been giving you props, bro.
Okay.
Gave you props on the post game. I gave you props on third and Longhorn. I've been giving my boy Stevie Lee props because Stevie, can you play left guard? He can't be no worse. He can't get. I don't know if he'll get a zero pass blocking grades. I think Stevie Lee would at least get a 2.
No
get
question.
a 5 or something. But you came on the show multiple times. This is why I'm glad we have you on, and people need to listen. And you criticize and complain about the D line, D tackles. Specifically, it's like, man, guys getting pushed back. I'm telling y'all, and Longhorn fans like, what? Hey, we winning big. What's it? And you're like, they getting pushed back. I'm telling you, I don't like it. You complained about it for like 2 to the point where I had to go back and watch. And I was like, okay, Stevie makes a good point. There are some times where they getting pushed back. Well, Stevie, I wish you'd told that to the coaches, or I wish they would have been listening, or people wouldn't have been so shocked, because you may have been the only person that I heard continuously complain about it. And we saw in the Florida game, you're the first person I thought about. I was like, damn, I started texting. I was like, damn, Stevie Lee. He tried to warn us. So give me your thoughts, because you ain't surprised, but you knew it was coming. You seen it.
Yeah, man. When we were getting pushed back against, Sam Houston State and San Jose, and I was like, man, when we started getting up to those big boys in the SEC, I'm not sure. And so let me say this also, though. I think that the kids can do it, can play the line. I'm not sure if they're getting coached correctly on how to take on a double team. I'm sorry to go after a coach or anything like that, man. But yeah, because they got the size, right? Shit, those kids are bigger than me, bigger than where I was, Yeah. So all you got to do is, in a legal way, grab the breastplate and go down to the ground, instead of getting pushed into your linebackers, man. And the other thing, man, what I saw this weekend, and you may get into it, was, man, we couldn't tackle.
No,
right? We could not tackle. Now the running back for forget his name, running back for Florida. What is it?
Jaden Ball.
Jaden.
Yeah,
he's good. I think we're underestimating that kid. He's really good. He was. I would love to see the stat of what is it, yards after first contact.
It was. I can get you right now. It was 94 rushing yards after contact. To your point, Steve.
Dude, that is crazy. And at the University of Texas,
freshmen everywhere play. They had freshmen everywhere playing out there. How about Brady, whatever his name was, that wide receiver?
Oh, Dallas Wilson.
Dallas
Wilson. True freshman. But yeah, he's getting all kinds of yards after the first contact. Man, at the University of Texas, we get people on the ground. We hit hard and we get them on the ground. And something is a disconnect right there, man. And then, Colin's starting to make some good plays towards the end of the game, which is great. But man, and we did not get any sacks on a quarterback that was playing on one leg. I'm kind of baffled right now, man. It was the defense is what we hung our hat on the first part of the season, and now it looks like our front four can get pushed around a little bit, man. And this is Florida. This is unranked Florida. Yeah. And the other thing about it, I mean, I'm probably jumping ahead. You might want to ask me other questions, but
no, go ahead, go.
What I noticed at the end of the game, man, and at any other school, you're unranked and you play number 9 and you beat them, you rush the field. They didn't do that because they knew it. They knew what we were and what they had, and it was not a surprise to them, And so it was kind of disheartening. But in the same breath, let me be a little bit more positive right now. We were still in the game at the end, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So we like you said, we had that long pass that could have gone for a touchdown. We had the trick play that could have gone for a touchdown. We talking about a whole nother thing right now. But also in that, if we'd have won this game, I still would have complained about our defensive line.
They're not getting any separation. They don't get any separation. They cannot get off of blocks. There's no sense of urgency out there. I mean, so if we can't get off blocks and we're not, then let's start playing games. Let's start slanting. That's what everybody's doing to us. I mean, they're just, now I'll tell you what, whoever the Florida offensive line coach is, he's a stud. I mean, I don't know that they had a holding call, but I don't know that I saw a play where they weren't holding. I mean, they get that breastplate, and I mean, they got you, and you can't get away. And the officials aren't going to call that. I'd gripe about it all the time, and they'd say, no, Coach, we got to see. That's why you'll see a defensive lineman or defensive end kind of throw their arms up in the air and like, hey, man, he's grabbing my shirt or whatever. Then that's when they'll get it called. But when it's right here and you're not fighting to get away from it, they're not going to call it.
Absolutely, Coach. Coach, I got a question for you, man. For me, for a little bit of the game, the way they were just sticking on people and not shedding, are they afraid to? Are they thinking too much in this defense? Is it too much they're throwing at them?
That's a good point.
No,
I don't.
Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. But whatever they're doing, it seems to me that it's taken away the aggressiveness of our players, because I saw nobody really. I mean, Colin Simmons had 3 tackles for loss in a row, had another tackle for loss on the first or second drive and lost it.
Mm-hmm.
But I see him. I see Ant Hill. I thought our linebackers played reasonably well, actually.
Smith.
Anthony. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Those guys played with a sense of urgency, but I didn't see any of our guys up front playing with that sense of urgency. And when you do get off a block, you were sprinting 100 miles an hour to get to the ball.
And so I only asked that question because I know for me, whenever I was in my game plan and I knew everything, I knew what my linebackers was going to do. I even knew sometimes what the DBs were doing. That's when I had the best games of my life, right? But whenever I'm second guessing what the call is and what my assignment is and not even thinking about what my linebackers are, I kind of get lost, in that. So that's what I felt like, that they were getting lost a little bit in the game plan by not just playing football and knowing how you fit into the defense. That's what I was.
And plus, they were getting on our linebackers way too easy.
Yeah,
they were not protecting our linebackers at all.
Yeah.
The D-line wasn't penetrating, like to Stevie's point. You're supposed to be penetrating in the backfield if they're that concerned about getting to the second level. Or
there's some things that are, I think, fundamental with our adjustment to motion was not sound. On the first touchdown they scored, they had a receiver that went to motion from right to left. The corner went all the way across with him, and my mind's gone blank. 16, our safety.
Taft.
Yeah. Yeah, Taft just kind of stayed over where the tight end would be. And so there was nobody that had the edge. Nobody, there was no force player.
We got to be on the edge a lot, Coach.
And so the tackle wind up just coming straight off on the defensive end, not really trying to take him inside or out, kind of a choice. And the back dipped it in there and then went outside, and there was nobody out there. You have to have somebody forcing everything back inside. That's fundamental defense,
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was on Taft. I don't know if it was defensive end. I don't know if it was just brilliant play calling and scheming by the Florida offensive coordinator on some potential fallacies in the way we adjust to motion in certain formations.
Yeah, they got us a couple of times on the edge. I remember those plays specifically. They were attacking the edges, actually. And maybe you're right. Listen, the thing about football, we all know, if one team exposes it, you better fix it, or the next team up going to be like, hey, that's a good idea. We're going to try that too. So everything that you had problems with against Florida, you can damn well be sure that Oklahoma's going to have their version of it.
You know what it feels like to me? That's funny. That's funny you say that, Rod, because what it feels like to me is everybody we're playing on the schedule gets together every week on a conference call. It says, you see this? You see this? You see this? Hey, what about this? Hey, how about that? I'll pick it up. When they do this, this is what we did, and it worked.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, guys, good luck to you. We'll see you talk next week on our Texas call.
Coach, it's going to feel like that because that D-line from Oklahoma, they do a lot of twisting and stunting and moving games and run stunts. Probably nobody in the country does it better, actually. And they had problems with it versus Florida, simulated pressures and guys, little guys moving around a little bit. That's going to be a problem for Texas versus Oklahoma. Speaking of, before we won't take up too much of Stevie's time. Stevie, last thing here about Oklahoma. I want to ask you about Texas OU. How confident are you Texas gets the W, considering they're coming off one of the worst losses, actually, in the Sark era? We might be talking – that was one of the worst losses he's had. I mean, it's like Arkansas and that Florida loss are right up there. I mean, that's pretty bad. And that was an excusable one because that was your first year in 2021. So this may be the worst loss in some people's mindset he's ever had, considering what he's built it up to. How do they bounce back? What's the bounce back factor versus Oklahoma?
Well, man, golly, how do I stay positive here? Who's the quarterback? Who's going to play? Do we know?
I know John Mateer right now. I think Hawkins is going to play, but I will say this: I was talking to Fozzie Whitaker, and Fozzie does ESPN games.
Sure.
And he did the Oklahoma Kent State game, and he said this dude, John Mateer, came out fully dressed and actually ran on the field. And then everybody was like, what is going on? Now, he did not do drills. He didn't do drills or anything. He just wanted to be out there with his team. And I think so that's kind of weird to me, because if I wasn't playing, I'm like, nah, you know how hard it is to get into a football uniform. I'm like, nah, I'm good with my sweats over here. And I'm sure he had that option. So he does have a little that in him where he's, you know what I mean? He ain't quite right. He's a quarterback that looks for contact. He ain't quite right. Yeah. But he's got the dog in him. So there is a chance. He's from Dallas, right? He's from the Dallas area. He said he's only been to only one Texas OU game. I think Little Elm, wherever that is. He's like in the DFW, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's only been to one Texas OU game. He said it was in the COVID year. So he didn't really been to a real Texas OU game. I ain't saying he's gonna play. I don't think he will. I think his advisors will tell him, or his representatives and agents be like, dude, you got too much money at stake. Don't do it. But if you left it up to him, he'd probably the kind of dude that if he could rush the timeline, he would for this game.
So I actually think that he's gonna play.
See?
I was thinking that he may play, but you just saying that he ran out fully uniformed like last week, like. And you're from the Dallas area. You want to do Texas in a bad way. He's gonna play. So with that being said, I don't see us coming out of that looking great. I don't know if we win or lose, but the OU really started to look good, and I know where I'm talking. I know who I'm talking to, guys. But dude, I thought that we were going to be much. Y'all know this. I thought we were going to be much better than what we were. But what I saw on film, going into the swamp and trying to actually get a W out of there, I feel like. The heart wasn't there for these kids, for these guys, man. I don't. I'm sorry.
No, it was on display. You ain't gotta apologize. We all watched it. They weren't ready to play. They had no urgency, and I don't know what they thought, what they expected in Florida, but they got a whipping is what they got. They got to put on them, and hopefully, because by the way, I've gotten embarrassed before. All right, as when I played, Stevie, you remember them days? Yeah. And I also remember, and this is how I know what Florida did. Florida went to work during that bye week, and in that game week, they didn't focus on anything else. They were embarrassed, they were ashamed, all right, and they had guys with a lot of pride, and they went back to work, and that's basically that's the factor that Texas needs to maximize this week. They are ashamed, they're embarrassed, they should be. It's all right. You're a good player. There's no indictment of you as a player or you as a team, but now you got to get back to work. Now I'm talking about really get back to work. And like right now, they're playing like a collection of talent. This is not yet a team, in my opinion. They still got it. They'll be when they get there, they're gonna be really good. That's what we all thought they start the year as. Right now, just a collection of talent. It's a lot of talent, but it's the ultimate team game. A collection of talent ain't gonna win a championship.
That's good, Rob. That was really good, man. A collection of talent. We just need to gel together as a team. I like the way you put that because that's what I thought. We had some really good, talented players. They look good too, man. They are big, strong, and talented. But do we have the correct coaches? I'm looking at the O-line to put the guys together to actually because O-line that's the group that has to actually play together and talk to each other. Passing off defensive tackles when they do those twists and heads. and passing off linebackers and things like that. They have to be really locked in together, man. So individually, yes, they're talented and they can do pass pro individually, but as a team, it did not look that way.
Amen, brother. Yep.
Yep.
All right, we won't keep you too long, Stevie, but like I said, I've been giving you props. I'll continue to give you props all week long. The one person who told me, watch out for this D-line, they ain't quite right, was Stevie Lee, because he's a ball knower, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thanks. Ball knower, legitimate ball knower. Thanks, bro, and have a great rest of the week. Tell the lovely family we said what's up, and love you, brother.
Love you, man. We talk to y'all soon. Hook 'em.
All right, see you, buddy.
Yeah. We got another ball knower with us. Jeff Howe, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Rod, happy birthday. Coach Shipley, missed you on Saturday, but good to see you again. Yeah. Can I start with something, Rod?
Before you do that, Jeff, before I give you, because you deserve the floor. Let me thank our friends at Hard Grove Roofing, because I didn't even do it while Stevie was on. I apologize about that. That's on me. I'm just excited to see Jeff. Know who's on your roof with our friends over at Hard Grove Roofing. They have offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And if you need a new roof, or maybe you need a roof inspection, or it's been a while since you've had anybody take a look at your roof, leave it to the professionals over at Hard Grove Roofing. HardGroveRoofing.com. You can give them a call at 512-645-3202. The most pro burnt orange roofing company out there, and we appreciate all of their support here at On Texas Football, and we appreciate them sponsoring Stevie Lee coming on with us every Monday, because if not for Stevie Lee, I wouldn't have known to look out for the Texas D-line being suspect. Who knew? Stevie Lee. That's who knew, Jeff. He said it multiple weeks in a row, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go look at it. And I went back and told him, I was like, actually, you were right. Even before the Florida game, I was like, they are getting pushed around just a little bit, but that Florida game, different monster. All right, Jeff, you have the floor, brother.
So I do want to get to the Florida game, and we'll share thoughts. And I know I was at the player availability and Sark's press conference today. But I want to say this because I've seen a lot of it on social media, and I trust that our On Texas Football family is a little smarter than the average bear when it comes to football. But I've seen a lot of Longhorn fans say, "Oh, I'm kind of embarrassed. Don't want to wait. Don't want to get to Saturday. Oh, really don't want to see what shows up. Oklahoma's going to kill us." Look me in the eyes right now, Longhorn fans. I'm going to talk to you. You get one OU week. You get one Red River shootout a year. You get one time a year where you can remind the people that occupy that godforsaken space of clay north of us that the best decision they'll make all year is when they decide to hitch their domiciles to their vehicles, cross the Red River, and come down for a butt kicking. You get one day to remember that Walmart stock will plummet because their clientele will all be at the Cotton Bowl getting ready for the game. You'll forget that the lines for the rides at the State Fair, you get one time to remember, the lines of the rides for the State Fair will be long and tedious at the game because the guy operating the tilt-a-whirl, well, that's the one time he has a chance to get out and enjoy football, and he will do it that day. All the OU fans are the ones operating the rides. Relish this week. Don't let it go away. Yes, we can be upset about Florida. We can digest that game and dissect it, and we will. But, and for me, you look at those interlocking letters, you look at those colors, and it makes me want to vomit. And I remember why I love this game so much. I enjoy walking the midway and having somebody run up to me and give me the middle finger and throw horns down in my face. Rod, as you said one time, there are rules of engagement when you talk about Texas OU. Yep. Don't let this opportunity slip away. We only get so many of these in our lifetime. Enjoy this one on Saturday.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Amen.
Close the curtain. Close the curtain.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, you should. That's a drop the mic moment.
That's like George Costanza. That's like George Costanza. I'm out.
Yeah.
He finally got the last word in and said, "I'm out."
That's a mic drop moment right there. We ain't gonna top that, so I don't even know why we need to continue. And shout out to my man Marcus Myers in the chat because he's right. It's 7:41, and OU does indeed still suck. And they
Ron, I got to tell you this. I got to tell you this. I got a little 2.5-year-old grandson. Some of you that follow me on Facebook and stuff know little Valor was born with DeGeorge syndrome, which is heart defects, and so he had to have open heart surgery right when he was born. So they named him Valor. They knew he was going to have to be a courageous young man. 2 heart surgeries, first 2 weeks, by the great lifetime Longhorn Chuck Frazier, Dr. Chuck Frazier, who's been a friend of mine since the 80s, early 80s probably. Anyway, he loves to watch football. He'll never be able to play football, but he loved little Valor loves to play football. And he watches the highlights. He watches Jordan's highlights, Jackson's highlights. He can't talk real good. He calls Jackson Jacket. And so, but when he wants to watch the Django Walker video,
Oh yeah, yeah.
thank God I was born a Texas Longhorn.
Yeah.
And they show that schooner going across the field, and it's getting a little heavy, and it tips over.
Yeah.
That's right when the song says, "And never forget, oh, you sucks." So he said, he'll say, Jackie, I don't want jacket. Oh, jacket. And so I'll put it on Jackson's. And then if he wants to watch Jordy highlights. And then he'll say, "Oh, you suck. Oh, you thuck." So he has a list. He says, "Oh, you thuck, Bobo. Oh, you thuck." And I know which video he wants to watch. Because every time that plays, he gets his arm in the air and he goes, "Oh, you sucks." 2.5 years old, man. It's so awesome.
Oh, now you guys see. Now you inspired me, Coach. I got a 2-year-old, and now I gotta find some way to get. I've got to do it in the horns. We got that.
Yeah.
But I need her to know this is a great week for me to already start putting in her mind that, oh, you suck. So I'm gonna start repeating that around the house a little bit so she gets it. Yeah.
But it's just perfect with that
like
wagon. Remember when that wagon, they turned it too sharp and it rolled? Oh, man.
Sounds like a great young man to me.
Oh, you thought, Bobo.
Sounds like you might have a prodigy on your hands right there. God bless that baby boy. Amen to that. That is good stuff. All right, let's get to the super chats here, guys. We got a few. I apologize. It's been. Thank you guys for all the birthday wishes, by the way. Thank you guys. Stevie Lee said it. I know, Stevie, I should have told you it was my birthday. You know how dudes are. But I appreciate all the birthday wishes. Thanks, CB. I appreciate CB. I think CB always puts it out there first and foremost out there on social media. So I appreciate you guys and all the kind words. Okay, let's get to the super chats here. How about this one from Preston? I see a super chat, but I don't see a question. So if you have a question, please throw it out there and Matthew will grab it. But thank you, Preston. We appreciate the super chat. Lane up first here. Lane C. Wright says, is physicality a choice? Anything coaches can do psychologically to flip a switch? And happy birthday, Rod. Absolute legend for doing this and the ACL show today. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. The ACL show was fun. That was awesome. And thank you to everybody who came out for the third Longhorn ACL show. All right. Physicality, though, because this game, the Texas, even when it was in the Big 12, it was a game about physicality. I remember in this game at one point, in, I say 2000 was probably that time, my first year as a starter, where we were a really young team. It was basically that 99 class, and a lot of us had become starters. We were a really young team. We were good, but we were young. Kind of like this team here. We were good, but we were young. And when young teams don't understand kind of what Jeff brought up, the rules of engagement of this matchup, and understand the physicality of it, and understand the unique atmosphere and the momentum swings and all those different things. That's why I think coaches who've coached in it have an advantage, quarterbacks who've started in it have an advantage, players who've played in it have an advantage, because it is such a unique environment. But there's no doubt the one thing that has been a commonality between all the Texas OU games, no matter what form they're in, is the physicality. I remember you said, Jeff, years ago, it's a line of scrimmage game. Well, now you're in a line of scrimmage league, but this has always been a game about physicality. There have been times we've seen bad Texas teams, not bad, but Texas teams that were inferior to the Oklahoma team go out there and punk that Oklahoma team. They were better, but they weren't more physical on that day.
We did it in 2013, I believe it was.
That's the one.
Yeah, I remember that one. That's the one. Yeah, that's day one. Yeah. So what are your thoughts, guys? Physicality. Can you flip a switch, though? Because you didn't have it last week.
You better flip that switch yesterday by the time you got back, or probably late Saturday by the time you got back off the plane from Gainesville, because this is a game where when I've seen blowouts on either side, either Texas blows out Oklahoma or Oklahoma blows out Texas, usually the aggressor pops the opponent in the mouth. Yep. And by the time you've gathered your bearings and figured it out, you're down 21 points and it's done. That's why we see this game, Rod, to your point. If you don't handle the momentum swings in this game the right way and understand that it's going to ebb and flow, that's when you get yourself in trouble. But, man, Coach, I go back to the 2013 game, and you got to remember, like, I think this team can draw something from that. Because you think about it, that team, you had the BYU debacle early in the year. You had a loss to Ole Miss.
Yep.
Had a Thursday game in Ames against Iowa State. It was just a weird game that came down to the end. And everybody's writing Mac's obituary. Like, this is it. Like, Bob Stoops is going to put the last stake in Mac Brown's heart. And it wasn't necessarily the Chris Whaley interception, which really flipped the momentum of that game. But I remember early in that game, Texas has a 4th and short, and they just hand it to Malcolm Brown, just a power over the left side. And he runs over about 2 or 3 guys for an 8-yard gain and gets something up in his chest. And Coach, you can back me up with this. Malcolm, not really like an overly demonstrative guy. And he gets up and he's thumping his chest, and Mason Walters and Donald Hawkins are getting going. And I look down at some of the OU riders and they're like, that looks different. Showing up with the same one we've seen this year. So yeah, this is it, you better show up at Fair Park with your head right, because if not, you be in a world of hurt real fast.
Yep. Lane, I'll tell you what I say to answer your question. Ask, how do you think Casey Studdard would answer that question?
Yeah.
Here's how he would answer it. There is no choice. You have no choice. You are a warrior. You're one of the chosen few. That's how Casey saw it. It was a freaking 1-on-1, 5-on-5 battle, whatever you want, every down, fight to the death, But yes, physicality is a choice, but it's a choice that a player has to make. If there were certain words that coaches could say to flip that switch, well, it wouldn't last very long because everybody'd be saying it and be old. What you have to do is, in my opinion, is you have to recruit physicality, recruit offensive linemen that have a defensive lineman mentality, that want to just take your head off right at the shoulders, man. Those are the guys. Casey Studdard is in my Hall of Fame of the attitude I want offensive linemen to have. He was the baddest dude on the field in his mind.
Yeah. No, he was. Yeah. No.
So you do what you got to do to flip the switch. Hey, Bobby Boucher had a pretty unique way of flipping the switch, didn't he? He started thinking about mama and stuff and whatever, start making believe in his mind, and then, so yes, you can flip a switch. But
no,
but Mama, Mr. Coach Klein said it's okay.
Coach is on the road today. Actually, it got. But no, to the point about Lane that he's making about the flip the switch, and you said about Casey Studdard, right? Casey Studdard understood the mentality you needed to have to play the O-line position. He once told me, he said, "Man, if you're an O-lineman, you need to get a guy that likes to fight, because it's just a fight for 60 minutes." He said, and I like to fight.
Great. That's a great.
I don't mind fighting. And am I going to get hit and lose a couple of downs? Yeah, that's what a fight is. A real fight, you're going to get hit in the face a few times. He said, but at the end of that fight, I'm going to win. He said, at the end of 60 minutes and 4 quarters, I guarantee you that guy, he's going to not only respect me, but that guy's he's going to be willing to concede that I lost, man. You just whipped my butt for 4 quarters. And that's the mentality that he had. It was a fight. And so he didn't really need to flip a switch, because that's just kind of who Casey is. But I agree with Coach. I think that's natural. I think that's programmed early in you as a kid. You ever see that one kid and you go, oh, that kid's going to be a linebacker. Look at him. He just running into stuff. Right? Like you just kind of see like that kid likes physicality. And he likes the fight and the physical element of the game or whatever it is. And all players don't like that. I didn't like that. Casey loved that. I played with guys who like the physical. I played with Quentin Jammer. I played with DBs. I played with Nathan Basher. Quandre Diggs liked physicality. There are certain players you can recruit that they like the fight, the physical fight of the game. I didn't, which is why I had an alter ego that I would have to flip a switch lane. I had Black Caesar. Black Caesar liked that kind of stuff. Right beat ain't really my thing. All right, I'm a finesse guy. I want to be out there covering wide receivers. But hey, go to flip the switch to be Black Caesar. Black Caesar go out there and try to take your head off. He would. That's just, he's a different guy. So if some guys need to flip a switch, some guys I think is naturally programmed in them. Period. Yeah. You better figure out which coach is right. On O-line, I don't want guys who need to flip a switch. I want guys who got it naturally. That's who they are. They Casey Studdards of the world. they will never be different.
At this point, if I'm Sark and Kyle Flood, I would try to find the 5 guys that are just going to go put a hat on somebody. Like, man, we'll worry about execution and the finer points later. But man, that's where it's got to start. And I think line to scrimmage play is one of those things we talk about with a quarterback getting into a rhythm. I think line of scrimmage play is one of those things where it can snowball for better or worse. You know, like the 2013 game we were just talking about, like, man, Texas just kept coming at Oklahoma in waves, and we've seen it. And we've seen Texas lines do that where, Coach, you know this, when an offensive line, when they start leaning on a defensive line and they know you're running it and there's nothing they can do to stop it, that is demoralizing. Likewise, as an offensive lineman, when you can't run the football and you know that guy's pinning his ears back, getting in that track stance, and he's coming after your quarterback, and there's really nothing you can do about it, that is demoralizing, and it can snowball. So I think that's where it's got to start. I just got to find 5 guys that are willing to put a hat on somebody and create movement.
And sustain a block. That's a Florida game showed you too. Texas D lineman couldn't get off a block, and Texas O lineman couldn't sustain a block. And that really was kind of one of the big differences in the game. All right. Thanks for the super chat. Getting to Blake here. Blake, thank you for the super chat. It says, how would you compare this O-line versus 2009 O-line? The 2009 line is the last bad one I remember that had a good team. Coach, you brought that up. You said the same thing. You made a similar comparison.
I did too. We talked about that before the broadcast started. You know, the thing about that 2019 was really strange, because I've asked people for years, you know, who was a star running back on the 2009 Longhorn team? Well, that was let's see, Trey Newton. Now Trey got hurt. No, nobody could tell me, because there wasn't one.
It wasn't. Nope.
Remember, they had Johnson. He was like number 30 or 31, big guy.
Cody Johnson.
Yeah, Jordan said they'd always laugh at him because he'd be bragging about all those touchdowns he scored. He go, yeah, you average 1 yard a carry because you get it on the one and you just fall over people to get in the end zone because you average 1 yard per carry on all your touchdown runs. But yes, I think it's eerily similar. Which that 2009 team beat a lot of good teams with that offensive line, but I felt like that Colt, if you go back and look at those highlights, very rarely is Colt ever sitting back there in a clean pocket.
No,
he was having to use his feet, but the scheme they ran matched the offensive line as good as they possibly could. They didn't ask their running backs. Their running game was those short passes that Colt would hit. Right. You know, of course, that wasn't a great offensive talented team.
No, it wasn't.
You had they just ran the right plays at the right time and had the right combinations, and guys made plays at the right time. But it's eerily similar, I think, to the 2009 O-line, which is not bad. It's not like, you know, those guys played for the national championship.
And that line, I mean, you had guys you had smart guys, you had some good leaders up front. You know, David Snow ended up being an NFL player. Chris Hall as a center held that thing together, was a good glue guy. I think the difference is, and one of the differences between that team and this team, Rod, we've said it for years. You go back and watch 2009, when you have a great quarterback, an elite quarterback, the best quarterback in the country, and he's dealing, and he's an extension of your offensive coordinator on the field. He can mask a lot of deficiencies. And Colt masked a ton of deficiencies. To the coach's point, masked a ton of deficiencies that offense had. Arch is just not at that point yet. Arch is not at that point where he knows the system well enough or is far along in his development where he can cancel out a lot of times where everybody around him is wrong. He can still be right. It's just not there yet.
And one other thing to wrap up the discussion about the 2009 thing, got to give Greg Davis a ton of credit to Coach's point. Coach Davis always said he wasn't a system coach. Like Sark's a system coach. Like Sark has his offensive system. It goes with him everywhere he goes. Everybody knows what his system is. They know the tent poles of it, right? The fundamental basics of his system, because he's had it for years. And it's, like I said, he's evolved it everywhere he's gone, but it is his calling card. Coach Davis didn't really have that. But Greg Davis, his offense would change every time he had a new quarterback. The sim system was very different than the Colt offense he ran, very different than the VY offense he ran. Like that was the beauty of Greg Davis, is he really could, to what the challenge is for Sark right now, build that offense around the strengths you have. The strengths you have. Don't come in like, nah, you guys got to run my offense. It's like, at this point, they can't run your offense. Right? They can't do it. So you need to modify the offense to what your guys are doing well and what they can do. And that we'll see if he can do that, because if he continues to try to make them run his offense that he's run so far this season, they're going to fail doing that. And Arch is going to get his head taken off doing it too.
That's probably right. What frustrated me the most with the offense about the Florida game is I felt like, based on the product you put on the field, and we didn't, what we didn't see change. And we talked about it, like all those signature staples in Sark's offense haven't been there in some of these games. And I felt like that San Jose State, it was what it was against Sam Houston, but I felt like the chance to get better and find an identity against San Jose State and UTEP, I felt like those were 2 weeks where it was wasted. And now, based on the product that was on the field, I really feel like, man, what you guys do? I said it during the watch with us, Rod, and I heard you say it during the post game. What you guys do during the bye week? Like, it just felt like you wasted the bye week. And they're practicing, they're putting stuff in, but you didn't maximize it. And now it's unfortunate you're having to scramble. But I'm with you, Rod. It's not about, we're so far beyond like worrying about red zone or situational football. It's in all this muck, can you break it down and find a couple of things that are like, all right, we know we can do that. We can execute this, and we can execute these couple things. And then can you build a game plan around?
Yeah. No, to your point, we're past all the detailed synopsis and breakdown of what's keeping this team from getting to a championship. Like, no. We got to stop talking about championships and all that now, and playoffs. No. Now we're about blocking and tackling. Can they block and can they tackle? We're not really. We went from, can this team have a great elite red zone offense, and can they have elite third down offense that will enable them to get to a college football playoff and actually win a championship? And now we're talking about, can they block and can they tackle? Life comes at you fast. Marco here says Arch should be on that advanced pain care ad after all those hits versus Florida. He's probably right. Speaking of ads, let's thank another one of our sponsors. Let's thank our friends at Von Lane, and we'll get back to the super chats here before we wrap things up. How about this, folks? This fall, you've got places to be. We all do. Texas football at DKR, the Red River Rivalry in Dallas, NFL Sundays in Houston and Dallas, plus ACL Fest happening right now. F1 race happening later on this month as well here in Austin. Why waste hours at the airport or stuck behind the wheel? With Von Lane, you just walk into a hotel terminal, check in within minutes, and you're on board. No TSA, no hassle. Settle into one of just 22 oversized first-class seats. Stretch out, recline, and enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, and drinks. If you want a beer or a cocktail, that's easy. My friends at Von Lane, they got you covered. Also, travel is open right now through December, so book today for game days, concerts, or even Thanksgiving and Christmas trips. Visit vonlane.com and use the code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride with Von Lane. That's Von Lane, the private jet on wheels. Thank you very much to our friends over at Von Lane. Let's get back to the super chats here. How about this? Cisco? Cisco says, happy birthday, Rod B. Thank you, Cisco. And thank you guys, all you guys, for the birthday wishes. I appreciate those very much. It's always around Texas OU, my birthday. And so it wasn't always great when I was playing because we lost some of them games. Therefore, bad birthday. Orlando Rivera says, just for the flat blank bitch comment. What? I did flat butt comment. The flat butt comment. Okay. Was Jeff on for this? No,
I was not. I saw that super chat. I was like, I must have missed
Coach,
something.
you got to give me your theory real quick before we move on. You got to explain Coach has a great O-line theory based on O-line evals.
Yeah. I had an old college recruiter tell me one time, you show me a flat-butted lineman in the Power 4 playing football, and I'll show you a flat-butted lineman that's going to have his butt handed to him every play. Except he didn't say butt. And so when I look out there and I see some of our guys and they're kind of flat-butted, and you go, where does your power come from? Comes from your hips.
Yeah.
Comes from your hips. Where does the strength from your hips come from? It comes from your legs and it comes from your butt. It comes from your butt. So I like big butts.
I'm not even going to paraphrase Coach. I'll quote him. There was one year at coaching school when he was still the coach, when Mike Sherman was still the coach at A&M. It was I think one of the best offensive line evaluators, developers at any level of football in my lifetime is Mike Sherman. And I asked him I said, hey, coach, what are you looking for when you evaluate offensive linemen? And he broke it down like, detail, what he wants to tackle, centers. He said, but I'll never forget, he said, I can't have guys be too squatty, especially my tackles. Like, I got to have some flexibility. He's like, but if you're going to play for me, he's like, you got to have a big ass. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Well, hey, it's also a counterweight on pass blocking too, because you're trying to keep him off of you, and your butt is a counterweight. You laugh, Rod. That's a truth, man. That is a truth. Use that booty.
Okay. I love it. Oh man, I'm joking. I love it, Coach. No, it actually makes so much sense. Yeah. It's just I've never anchor ass, says Alan. I've just never heard anybody break it down like that, but that's why you're the coach. That's brilliant though. I believe you, Coach. I think you're on to something.
That's why I'm doing a podcast in my guest bedroom upstairs and not coaching.
I want to know next time Kyle Flood is available to the media, somebody ask him how he feels about linemen's butts. Okay, how does he feel about what's his about eval? I need to know. And I'm going to sell butt injections to the recruits.
There's your NIL deal.
That BBL for the recruits.
How do you think I got big butt?
A cosmetic surgery clinic in Austin that does those Brazilian butt lifts. Somebody's going to have an NIL deal on that offensive line before too long.
That is awesome. All right. Sugarcane Daddy, not the crop, says, I know how to get dogs. Go down to the Travis County Jail and bail out every guy with 300 pounds, make them fight. Winner gets an NIL deal. I'm sure you'll find it, and make sure he's got a big butt too. Throw it all in there. Yeah. But you do have that. There's a certain amount of nasty in terms of your old lineman. Actually, I was talking about Jeremy Hills about this on Third Longhorn, and he was like, "Yeah, our big uglies ain't ugly enough to kind of they should be nasty. They ain't nasty enough. It be a nasty.
You know what? Yeah, I love an offensive line coach that when recruits are coming in, he'll ask the offensive line recruit, say, "You ever been in a fist fight? You ever been just to know?"
Just to know.
Oh, coach, I've never been in a fist fight. Or, like, you can tell the ones that have, they're a little, like they don't know why it's asking.
They're taking it back, like, what?
Coach, I had to protect my girl or whatever. Yeah, come on, let's go. Let's go.
Get into it. He said something about
I want some curb stomping attitudes around here.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. I do. I think there's something to that, man.
And this is the game for it too, right? Because you remember that 2022 game. Kelvin Banks is a true freshman in this game. They're going down in the OU end. Yeah. He went beyond the echo of the whistle to bury a guy 10 yards down the field, got up and let him know about it. And I'm like, this game is not too big for him. He's right at home.
Yeah, this guy gets it. No, I remember. I think was it Carrington Bindum? Remember that year? We always talk about this, Jeff. There was a year where basically there was a
65-21 in 2012. I remember.
There was a fade route in the end zone that Carrington Bindum is defending. He defends it well. The receiver Oklahoma ends up falling on the ground.
It was Kenny Stills.
Yep. And after Stills falls on the ground, Carrington Bindum, being a gentleman, he's just a nice guy. All right. He reaches out, extends his hand to help up Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills on the ground, on his back, looks up at Carrington Bindum's hand and slaps it away. Like, get the hell out of here. What the hell's wrong with you? And then I said to myself, Texas gonna lose. And now they lose, they got their butt kicked because you don't do that. Only you play on the ground? Hell no. You walk over, you step on that dude, or you walk over. Hell no, you don't help him up. Not in that game. Know the rules of engagement. And you're right. Kelvin Banks knew. He knew. Random name 25 says, happy B-Day, Rod. Thank you, random name 25. He says, is Arch trying to force the ball to Wingo? Seems like he passes up open receivers to try and get the ball to Wingo to get him going. I do think there are some routes that are predetermined in Sark's offense, where Sark basically in practice is like, this guy's going to be open, get it to this guy. And sometimes he's trying to get, and he's even admitted, he tries to get a receiver into a groove. Like he'll scheme open a certain player to get them the football when the ball's not naturally finding them. So I actually agree with you. I don't know if it's happening enough for it to be a problem, to be problematic, but I bet it does happen. I think that's just part of Sark's offense.
Yeah. Sark did say that.
Wingo is a great receiver. He's a great football player. He's a great athlete. But I don't think he's our best receiver. He doesn't have that dog in him that I thought he had. I haven't seen it yet, to go up and get it and make every effort to catch every pass like it's the last pass that I'm ever going to have a chance to catch. You know, that's the kind of mentality that you have to have. Like the game is on the line for me to catch this pass. I don't care if it's in the first quarter or the fourth quarter. But I do like what I see from Emmett Mosley.
Oh yeah. I agree with Coach. I like him too.
He's going to be good. And we got the freshman. What's the little freshman's name? Had another big catch this week.
Dede McCutcheon.
Yeah,
McCutcheon. Heck yeah, baby.
And he might be big this week, considering Livingston had the injury in that game, and I think X-rays, everything were negative, so it's good. But that was a violent hit, and depending on the swelling and everything, he may be on a pitch count if he is available for the Texas A&M. He may be on a pitch count or something. So may get more from Dede.
Yeah, that's good. He can do it. He's proven he can do it.
Yep. All right. How about CB here says happy B-Day, Rod, Adrian Colbert, and Caleb Blewett and UT. Okay. All those guys. We celebrate. I didn't know we shared a birthday. Thank you, CB. I appreciate that. All right. DBU for my man Adrian Colbert, and shout out to Caleb Blewett. One of those guys that was a really good athlete who switched positions, like 3 different positions at Texas, right? Didn't he play like linebacker and DN?
Hell of a human being, by the way. That's the Blewett family, period. Good people.
Okay, there you go. See, so we like to know. All right, he says UT hasn't won as the home team in the Red River Showdown, or the State Fair Street Fight, as we like to call it, CB, since 2015 and 08 and 09. Last time they beat OU in back-to-back years. Damn, it's been that long since back-to-back years. Yeah, I guess so. Huh. Well,
but I'm not arguing with Chris.
Oh no, hell no! I don't argue with CB.
No, Chris knows.
I'm just a little surprised by it. That's all.
You know, there's Google and there's Chris Bennett. It's the same thing.
And I trust CB.
Yeah,
I hate the fact that I wrote about this today over on TexasFootball.com. OU's won 11 of the last 16 in this series.
Damn.
Like, it would be really nice if things started to go the other way for a minute. And you know what? You can win back to back. It would be 3 and 4 years if you win. And it's really kind of a line in the sand moment, because if you win this game, then Sark has a winning record against Oklahoma. You win 3 or 4 in a series. You're starting to get it turned. And you feel like, hey, in the second half of the season, 6 games in, you're 4-2. You still got something. You really do have something to play for at that point.
That's true.
If you lose, then at that point, I think you got to reevaluate and be like, all right, we're not going to the playoff this year. Do you start getting some young guys ready to go in the second half of the season and already start building toward 26? I mean, I think you're at that kind of line in the sand moment right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I am not ready to give up on this team. I mean, I'll tell you what, Florida looked every bit like a top 10 team to me on Saturday.
They look good.
I mean, if you could have said one team's going to have a breakout game, one team's going to break through, I would have put everything I had on Texas. Texas was going to do that. Thankfully, I didn't. But Florida could wind up making a run now if they can keep Lagway healthy. So, I mean, you know, Ohio State's still the number one team in the country. So I'm not giving up hope on these guys. If they'll keep fighting and they'll not, just like you're talking about, man, both you guys, especially Jeff, you know, it's a chance of a lifetime right here. This is the one everybody wants to know about. You know, if you can't get ready for this one. And so it could be the one that changes our season. I'm optimistic enough to think that this football team can still make some noise this year. If we can figure out who we are offensively, shore up some things defensively. We're obviously further ahead defensively than we are offensively, but I still think we can be a good football team. I really do.
Yeah. You both you guys have been behind closed doors and behind that burnt orange curtain for this rivalry. It really is one of those deals where if you win it, you feel like, all right, hey, it's not over. Like we can go. Like, it gives you an incredible shot in the arm. Likewise, if you're on the other side of it, it gives you an incredible sense of urgency. Like, man, we got to go back to work. Like we got stuff to do. So it's, Coach, I'm right there with you. It completely changes the outlook of your season one way or the other, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, that's the truth. I agree on that. All right, let's thank our last sponsor of the evening, and then we'll take a couple of super chats before we end things. Let's thank our friends at South Point Dodge. Texas football fans, you can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. That's right. You can get the real deal today and drive away in the all-new Ram 1500 proven to last. Plus, right now, you'll get employee incentive pricing. That's their fancy way of saying you pay what the employees pay right now at South Point Dodge. That's right. You get the employee discount. You won't find a better deal than that over at my friends over at South Point Dodge. So score big today at South Point Dodge. Go see them off of I-35 in South Austin, or you can go online at southpointdodge.com. Whether you need a car, truck, something new, something used, a trade-in, whatever you need, our friends at South Point Dodge are Austin's automotive everything at southpointdodge.com. All right, Sugarcane Daddy, not the crop. Got a couple of them here. Says our offense should take a knee 3 times and punt to take the OU's defense out of the game. All right, that's a good point. Said he worked for Coach Coach Bellew?
Coach Bellew and the Water Boy.
Okay,
yeah, remember the Water Boy in the Bourbon Bowl? They just took a knee and punted.
That, you know what, I would just say this about that. That defense is good though. Like it's legit. Like that. They have, this is my favorite stat about the Oklahoma defense. They have forced more punts than they've allowed points. It's a good stat.
You remember that time the Mud Dog came back and won the bowl game? The Bayou Bowl.
So, yeah, I don't know what the offensive game plan is going to be. I'm with Coach. We'll see what the identity is. Right now, you don't do anything well on offense. That's your problem.
It better not look like it's looked, because if Sark keeps taking, if Arch keeps taking those hits.
Yeah, man. The Manning family is not liking that. I can guarantee you. They were watching that game with. They had to be disgusted.
He was a warrior, though, man. He did not back down an inch.
Yep, Sark even said it, man. We learned that he's tough as nails. He's tough. That's what you learned about your quarterback.
It reminded me of some of those early careers, some of those 2017 Sam Ehlinger games where, Sam would have just grass stains all over his jersey, and you're just looking at him after the game like, dude, like, I don't know how he made it through that in one piece. That's what Saturday felt like.
Nope, I agree with that. But like I said, I feel after that game, I feel better about Arch than I felt all season long, actually.
I'm with you, Rod. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's the crazy thing about it. But I feel worse about the team than I felt all season long. So that's the good, the yin and the yang. Sugarcane Day, not the crop, says Matthew the bouncer. Yes, Matthew, the real MVP around here as well. So we want to thank Matthew. We appreciate Matthew and appreciate you as well, Sugarcane Daddy, not the crop. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions, but great discussion, great conversation. Thanks to Stevie Lee as well, lifetime Longhorn and my former teammate. Thanks to Jeff for sitting in as well. Jeff, thank you for all of your expertise and knowledge. Coach, thanks for the wisdom and the levity. Nobody does it better. Thank you to CJ. He had to run. His name was getting called in an airport. That's always stressful. So thank you for joining us for the little time that he did. If we missed any of your questions, please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football, bright and early tomorrow morning, Jerry Hamilton and the legend himself, Bobby Burton. That'll be at 8:15. Thank you, Texas Dude. Also, tomorrow you'll have the Tuesday night live stream with Amanda Atwell, the newest member of the Owen Texas football family. She is a star. And also my man, Jeff Howe, and also with CJ Vogel. They always have fun on the Tuesday night live stream. It's always great. All right, for Jeff and for Coach and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Also for CJ and for Lifetime Longhorn Stevie Lee. Also thanks to our sponsors, South Point Dodge, southpointdodge.com. Thank you to Hargrove Roofing, hargroveroofing.com. And also thank you to Von Lane, vonlane.com. Use that code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. For Jeff, for Coach, for Matthew, for CJ, and for Stevie Lee, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.
Welcome. Happy birthday, Rod.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.